Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
When I was a graduate student, fresh out of undergrad and brimming with big, ambitious ideas for how cities should be, I poured every ounce of my passion into my thesis project. It was a comprehensive urban redesign, focused on radical sustainability, community integration, and green infrastructure. A vision I genuinely believed could transform the future of urban living. My advisor, Professor Gemma Qureshi, was a titan in the architecture and urban planning world. Her name commanded respect. Her firm, Qureshi Associates, was synonymous with monumental civic projects, and she wielded immense influence. But Professor Qureshi was also notoriously arrogant and dismissive of anything she deemed unconventional. When I presented my thesis, her reaction wasn't just critical, it was contemptuous. She scoffed, literally, telling me my concepts were too grand, impractical, and lacked any commercial viability. She said I needed to ground myself in reality, that my head was in the clouds, and that I'd never make a name for myself with such fanciful notions. The real blow, however, came with the postgraduate internship opportunities. There was one prestigious placement, a gateway to the industry that I was a shoo-in for. My grades were impeccable, my portfolio innovative, and I'd excelled in every design studio. But Professor Qureshi sat on the selection board. She used her considerable influence to ensure I didn't get it, citing my unconventional approach and lack of fundamental understanding of market demands. I wasn't just rejected, I was effectively blacklisted from her network, from the very pathways I thought were my future. It was a devastating blow, crushing my spirit and making me question if I should even stay in architecture. For years, I struggled. I took odd jobs, freelanced on small, insignificant projects, but that burning vision, those impractical ideas Gemma had ridiculed, never truly left me. Fueled by her dismissive words, I channeled my anger and disappointment into resilience. I slowly, painstakingly started my own tiny studio, Continuum Designs. I focused on the overlooked niches: sustainable brownfield redevelopment, community-centric housing, ecological infrastructure, exactly the areas she had deemed unprofitable. It was slow-going, grueling work, but with each successful small project, my reputation grew. My impractical ideas, once ridiculed, began to gain traction as the world caught up to the need for sustainable urban solutions. We won regional awards, then national. Soon, Continuum Designs became a highly respected name, synonymous with forward-thinking, environmentally conscious urban development. I eventually found myself sitting on major industry boards and expert committees, consulted on projects far grander than Gemma Qureshi could have imagined for me. Meanwhile, Qureshi and Associates had stagnated. They clung to the traditional, the safe, the profitable but uninspired models. As the industry shifted, they failed to adapt, slowly losing market share and influence. Gemma's once-unassailable reputation, while still big, was fading, her firm becoming a relic of a bygone era. Then the opportunity arose. A massive, multi-billion-dollar city center revitalization project was announced, a generational undertaking that Qureshi and Associates desperately needed to save their firm from irrelevance and looming financial trouble. As fate would have it, I was chosen to chair the independent expert panel advising the city council on the design proposals. I approached the task with an almost surgical precision. When Qureshi and Associates submitted their proposal, it was competent, but utterly devoid of the innovation and transformative vision required for such a landmark project. It was exactly the kind of conservative, risk-averse design I expected from them. I maintained a perfectly professional demeanor throughout the entire process. There was no outward sign of our history, no hint of the personal vendetta boiling beneath the surface. During their presentations, I asked Professor Qureshi's team pointed, technical questions about sustainability metrics, community integration strategies, and long-term economic viability. The very core tenets she had once dismissed in my own work, and areas where her firm was now demonstrably weak. I meticulously ensured our panel's evaluation criteria heavily weighted innovation, environmental impact, and genuine community engagement, the precise areas where my own firm excelled, and where hers dramatically lagged. My detailed, objective report to the city council subtly, yet undeniably, highlighted Qureshi and Associates' conservative approach and lack of a transformative vision compared to the more cutting-edge competitors. Qureshi and Associates was not shortlisted. The project, after further deliberation, ultimately went to a younger, more dynamic firm, one whose innovative design principles were, ironically, very much aligned with my own. The industry chatter began almost immediately. How could Gemma Qureshi miss out on such a major project? Qureshi and Associates is losing its edge. I later heard through a trusted source, a former senior partner at Qureshi and Associates who had since joined Continuum Designs, that the rejection was catastrophic. Key investors pulled out, several senior partners left for greener pastures, and her once formidable reputation within the industry was significantly, perhaps irrevocably, damaged. She eventually announced her retirement, though everyone knew it was forced. My colleague recounted a moment when Gemma, in a rare fit of despair, had ranted about new blood with impractical ideas taking over the industry. A direct, bitter echo of the very words she had hurled at me all those years ago. She knew then that I had been there, and I had been instrumental in her firm's downfall. It wasn't about vengeance for its own sake, but proving that vision, even when dismissed, can reshape the world, and those who stand in its way often become its casualties. I didn't just build my dream. I watched her empire crumble under the weight of her own outdated dogma.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.